So straight in, tell me a little bit about what's going on behind you. Why are we here ahead of tomorrow's town hall?
I think that in this whole process, obviously all of San Antonio is pretty aware of what's happening with, they reference Project Marble and the Spurs move and everything, but what is just as vital to our community is what happens here on the east side and what happens to these county grounds. We have been here since 1949. We've been here since essentially the grounds were built. When Joe and Harry Freeman donated the land for the Coliseum, the Freeman Coliseum down here, it was donated for agricultural use and purposes through legislation. So we have been the original tenants since 1949. When I first met with the Spurs and they talked about their intention to move venues, we realized that, number one, this is our home. We're very proud of having been here all these years, and we're proud of where we are, and we never had any intention of leaving. But what we did have to do is kind of come up with a plan of, okay, now what for the San Antonio Stock Show and Rodeo? We've had a great partnership with the Spurs. We were able to build that Frost Bank Center that we now, call home to our February rodeo in. We never would have had an arena of that size without being able to partner with the Spurs. So we're very grateful for that. But the whole plan was this partnership. So now we sat back and we said, okay, what do we do? How do we take care of this home down here? And what we realized in the process is that the timing is perfect for us. Divine hand, whatever you want to call it. Everything was lined up just right for us. A decade ago, we might not have been ready, but as we sit right now, the way our show has grown, the size it has grown, the industry as a whole, our connectivity inside of it, the timing is perfect for us to go back to the county and say, we'll fill the void. We intend to stay here. We understand what is happening. We understand the predicament that you as county officials are in with these grounds. We are willing to fill the void. So it was our job then to show them this. I can say it, but to get them out in the industry and see it. So they traveled around the nation with us, looking at venues, looking at industry. When I talk about industry, I mean the Western industry as a whole. A lot of people, when they first heard about this, like, well, rodeo, rinse and repeat every weekend is not going to work. And we never had any intentions of doing that. The Western industry is so massive as a whole that we have the opportunity to go with, I would reference our industry partners out there, to be bringing in events from other cities and other areas and host them here on these grounds. We have that capability. We have the connectivity within the industry. We have the longevity within the industry. We have the respect within the industry. So we're able to go out and bring all these events in here. So took the officials out, showed them the size of the industry, and then we said, okay, if I'm going to compete to bring people in here from all these other destinations that you just seen, I need to have the facilities to compete at that level. Our grounds currently, they look like an asphalt jungle down there. It's a bunch of barns just thrown up all over the place. It's not attractive, and we can't compete where we are. So the county looked at, and they said, okay, go out and design some plans and show us what you're talking about. And sitting behind me here is essentially what came out of this. We worked with an architectural firm. We came back with facilities that would allow us to go out and bring all these industry people in and allow us to go what we would reference into a year-round operation, to where all year long you are seeing activity down here within our industry. And what's important inside of that, there's been a lot of talk, and we recognize it. We live here. I mean, this is our homes down here. So, everything around us. Well, if you come to the type of client, if we're going to call them a client, that comes in now, and I've been one. You go to a basketball game, go to a concert, and you go home. But when we talk about the Western industry and take what happens in February, granted on a smaller scale, but with continuity, then you have a client that stays an average of 3 days. They come in, they're from out of town, they're trailering in their stock or whatever is involved in the production. And they're here on an average of 3 days. If you look at our economic impact study inside of the month of February, it's there. It's all laid out. The blueprint's there as far as the type of client that comes in, where they're staying, where they're eating, what they're spending, what they're doing. It is a completely different type of client than, say, I would be if I just drive in and come to an event. So if we can take that and we can string it out, and we can do it on a year-round basis, we're creating a new type of opportunity, a new type of traction. I run a rodeo. I'm not, I'm not trying to be something that I'm not. But what I can do is make a promise to everyone to do what we have done down here since 1949. And that's to stay true to the industry, bring in the people around that industry, and have the numbers of people that come in. I can promise all those things. I inherited a well-oiled machine here. I'm just passing through it. This industry's been here a long time. It's not going anywhere. It's very stable. And we can promise to bring the people in. We can promise to fill those voids down here on the grounds.
If you could compare your vision to anything, what would you call it? Would you say, like we've seen behind you, this looks like some kind of social space? Would it be more of a entertainment district? What would you define it as?
I think it starts off. It starts off with the traction of bringing the industry down, stuff like that. I have vision in the process to sit here and say that overnight it's going to be an entertainment district. I think would be a falsehood. We've got to start with the traction of the events. We've got to start by bringing the people down on a regular basis. And then yes, inside of those facilities, we do what we have done forever in February. Can we go out and book all the musical acts? We've told the county that we would activate inside of the Frost Bank Center, inside of the Coliseum. We pick up days and activate inside of those things. But could we create an entertainment district type feel where we have a smaller venue that has regular dances and music and things of that nature? Can we take the restaurants that we activate here on the grounds between our Directors Club and the Frontier Club? Could we take those things and start activating those on a year-round basis? We've already been doing all this. We just need to get that traction going to let it evolve towards that type of a district. And yes, that would definitely be the dream. If we're going to bring everybody down in the industry to do these types of things, we need things for them to do inside of the area here.
It's not fair to call anything a one-size-fits-all, because that's just not the case. A lot of people who live on the east side that we have spoken with say that they feel forgotten about, whether that be because there's nothing here or because they can't afford the things that do come here. But how do you make this inclusive for not just East Siders, but anyone in San Antonio who wants to venture out?
I think that, number one, if you come here in February, they're coming from everywhere, and all over Bexar County. So the type of activations that we do down here on the grounds, the diversity of the music and the food and everything that we do, it's here in February. If you walk these grounds, they're coming from everywhere. Now, I will say we have goals that we've had for a while now for the immediate footprint around us. And we've got some really great things happening right now. I talk all the time about, we actually flew out to Compton, LA to study an inner city youth riding program, because they have one of the best programs going on there right in Compton, LA. And we went out there, we studied it, we saw how they were getting the kids, how the program was working, what they were doing, and we started thinking, if they can do that here in LA, then we sure can do it back home where we are. And if you look across our offices across the street right now, we have a brand new arena built over there. We have horses stalled. Right here in an industrial urban area, we have horses right across the street. I'm proud to say that we have youth riding, right here in our immediate area. We're bridging that. We're getting to know them. They're coming over. They're riding horses with us. We're putting them through the lessons. There's so many things that we're doing, even the type of competitions that we have out there to be able to award scholarships and grants and things like that. Some of the barriers of entry that were there previously, we're able to take some of those down so that we can get into the STEM programs and things like that, where it's much easier for somebody that maybe is not going to what you designate as an ag school, but yet they can come in to the competitions. And our competitions have changed as far as the industry, from robotics and all these things. They're used in agriculture. We're still true to the industry. We have to have a food chain and supply out there, but there's so many things inside of that besides cows and plows. And we're able to break down those barriers and get in the immediate area with that. Connectivity in the area here, I'm happy to say that it's actually working. It's been really neat to see. Our neighborhood associations over here coming over on our Sunday events we do once a quarter, where we put on a full day of activity just for our neighbors right here in the area. They can bring the kids over. There's no charges. Nobody wants anything. It's just a matter of come over, and we'll do little educational components in it. But at the same time, we let them ride horses and be a part of us and start becoming more of a neighbor. I think that for the longest time, we were very successful statewide. We were able to go, every county in the state of Texas is represented here in February, and that's a great thing. It's a good thing. But where we probably needed a lot more emphasis is right here, as everything grew up around us. You know, I remind everybody we were here first, and we were the original area of this pasture land all the way around us. Everything grew up around us. But yes, we did not do a good job of growing up around it as well.
We've seen mistrust, and that's kind of proven itself with plans for Marble. I know that you have a plan, you have a vision. How do you get people on board to understand that this can be good for the east side?
I think there's a lot of it's confusing. I'm not going to deny it. It's the education process, the campaign kicking up with more education going out there. But it's confusing. I get it. I understand it. And people knee jerk to a lot of reactions. And I understand that completely. I do the exact same. I think a lot of it is education. Now, when we reference right here on the east side, if I'm just isolating that and I'm taking it away from Project Marvel and the Spurs arena, then quite frankly, we're the ones that are taking care of these grounds down here. We're the stewards of these grounds. We're the ones that have stood by the east side. We're the ones that have never ever done anything but reside down here and grow through the years. So all we're asking for is to allow us to move to fulfill that for the east side to year round. Without us, we all know the stories of what happened to the Alamo in Houston. I mean, not sorry, the Astrodome in Houston and facilities across the nation. We know what can happen. That would be the ultimate travesty to the east side, is if we just ignored it, or we came up with some plan or something that doesn't have the longevity, the traction, the proof in the pudding, if you will, of what we have done all this time. So we're the ones that are standing by the east side here. We're the ones that have committed to stay down here and take on the risk on our side of going year round inside of our operations.
So town hall happening tomorrow. What's your vision and your plan for that?
Tomorrow, I think it's 6:30. We have a town hall down here. You know, I hope that I can get up in front of everybody, take time and walk through everything inside of it, how we even got to this point, to what the facilities would look like, to the type of events we're talking about, to the community outreach in the immediate area, but continuing our outreach statewide, to how are we going to fulfill all these promises and all these plans. Take my time to go through all that. And then, you know, at the end, do some Q&A and let people hit direct with their specific interests and stuff like that, and I'll do the best I can to answer it. You know, at the end of the day, I run a rodeo, and my job is to grow our rodeo down here. We see this as a great opportunity for the stock show and rodeo. In the process, we think it's a great opportunity for Bexar County as a whole.
So condensing this down into layman's terms, for people who may see the story, they may not necessarily understand. Is this an expansion that would allow more opportunity for San Antonio? What would you describe this as?
I think it's, yes, you've nailed it. It is an expansion for more opportunity. It is taking the footprint of what we do in February and allowing us to spread it out year round. Again, I want to reference, everybody thinks of February as, you know, the size of what all we put on. It always would be our Super Bowl, if you will, but the rest of the year would not be to that size, but continuity throughout the whole deal. So yeah, I mean, I think it's an incredible opportunity. It really is, and I go back to the timing is just perfect right now.
Do you think that this could be a catalyst for other things, like local business or bringing bigger business to just kind of help essentially give this area a facelift with your help?
I certainly would hope so. I love this area, and again, this is where we've always been. So our desires are right there with everybody in this immediate area, that we desperately want to see that. It makes us more successful here too. If I'm trying to recruit people to come down here and put on a cutting or a chariot or whatever event it is, it helps us tremendously if there's things to do in this immediate area. So we as well are right there. I go back to the type of client that we're talking about bringing in here. I think there's opportunity inside of that offers a different, traction, if you will, year-round basis, right type of client. I think there's opportunity inside of that. To say that we can do the economic, development around here, that's not what we are. We're a nonprofit with a designated purpose. But what we can do is bring the type. I can sit here and commit to bring the clients down here. And hopefully we see it come around us. And then I'll put in one last thing. Judge Sakai's done a wonderful job of talking about, we're pinned in down here. You've got Union Pacific tracks on our west side. You've got heavy industrial on our north side, and you've got heavy industrial on our south side. If you could just take the frontage, not changing the course in the sense that we all love having the golfers over there, it's beautiful to have all that green belt over there, but if you could take that frontage and offer up some kind of public-private opportunities inside of that, that would be beautiful. Now you've got businesses facing towards the activity that we're talking about, but yet looking the other way off a beautiful golf course. That's where I would love to see the assistance, but my pay grade, but I'm down here all the time, and that's where it lies, in my opinion.
You've had a lot of interaction with county leaders. I believe we're in District 2.
We are.
Have you had a chance to speak with any of the city officials and get their feedback?
Most of our work has been with county. Since we reside on county grounds, and all of our, the propositions and everything that we do has pretty much been county for the most part. We haven't had to do a whole lot with the city because the Spurs have been, engaged in that side over there. But I would love to. I think it's very important, especially for District 2 right here.
I want to go back because I didn't ask you this earlier. When did the light bulb go off for you that this could be an opportunity? I know when the talks of Marvel and the Spurs moving happened. I'm not sure when that happened, but around when did that start?
Yeah, it's funny. So I think it was embedded the whole time. It was just getting over maybe the fear or what do they say, the necessity breeds creation, once your back's against the wall. It was kind of like that in the sense that I've been, every year I'm in Vegas in our industry. I understand the story of how they moved the NFR from Oklahoma to Las Vegas and how, the incredible economic impact they had there. I've watched our peers in Fort Worth between the stockyards and activity around the Dickies Arena. I've been immersed in it. We go to Calgary, what they've done up there at the Calgary Stampede. I've constantly been immersed in it the whole time. So it was there, like I'd been seeing all this stuff happen, but here we are comfortable. We've got this partnership with the Spurs, us and the county. And I think when the Spurs first called me in and talked about leaving, to be honest with you, it was kind of a gut check at first. I was kind of like, oh my gosh, now what are we gonna do? But that went away by literally the morning. I sat there because it was all in here. Everything I say it's not me. Everything we as a show, as a team, and all of us, everything that we've experienced out there and everything we've seen, it all was there. We just, never had to think about it because we were comfortable, in our situation operationally. We never really had to think about it. And two, we never dreamed that the opportunity would ever come along. And I think by the morning, I was like, what an incredible opportunity. What a gift to our show. I'm proud to say we gave $12 million last year to the youth of Texas, but we're kind of in a cycle as far as operationally what we can generate. As long as we're in the arrangements we have currently right now as a business, I can't really expand it. I can just keep fighting for everything inside of that to do the best that we can. And now the cycle's broken. Now literally the sky is the limit of creativity and opportunities that reside that we can grow more as a show, we can give back more, and in the process take care of our county and our city more.
Wrapping up, I want to ask this clarifying question. I know that this is an expansion of the work that you guys, your Super Bowl in February.
Yes, ma'am.
But these events that you're looking to hold, they're not necessarily Western exclusive, are they? Like going on through the rest of the year?
Would we say Western exclusive? I would say agriculturally exclusive. Yes, our job, the county would still take care of basically half the grounds year round. So my counterpart, Derek Howard, over with CAB, he would be able to bring in the boat shows and all these different conventions and things of that nature. We take half the campus, if you will. And yes, our job is to stay, as true as we can to the industry, extremely diverse. Just last weekend, for example, we had a genetics sale for, swine, youth swine. Nobody even thinks of that, but it's agricultural related. We had people from all over the country. 1.5 million, almost $1.5 million worth of consigned sales took place. 45 consigners outside of the state of Texas were in here. That's true to our industry. That's just giving an example of things that nobody even thinks of. But yes, I think that staying true to the Western industry is important because one, it's what we're good at, but two, these grounds, they need and deserve an identity. If we go try to be the next Pearl, it's not going to happen, right? They have that identity there. If we try to be like anybody else out there, it's going to be extremely difficult. But if we have an identity of our own, especially when you have somebody like us who is been around so long or respected in the industry and able to get into it, a partner like that for the county, it's teed up perfectly to have our own identity. I'm real proud to say that our homeowners association over here, right next door to us, who we've been taking their kids and riding and doing all this type of stuff, they actually came to us a week ago with artwork that they had designed, and I would call it like urban Western. You know, it has that colorful urban, almost graffiti type feel to it, and yet it's people horseback, it's Bronx, it's all this stuff. They brought it to us, and they said, we would like to propose this for the surrounding areas to kind of start creating identity down here. They comment all the time about how we've taken the property across the street and cleaned it up. They love driving by and seeing the horses over there and all this stuff. They are actually, whether they come from a Western industry or background or not, they are respecting that there's an identity starting to formulate down here.
And wrapping up, is there anything that you want to say or add that I haven't already asked you, or that you just want us to know about for the future?
I think that I would love the opportunity for people to come, as you mentioned, tomorrow night, to hear it all in detail. I go back to what a wonderful, I'm very positive about this, what a wonderful opportunity, even for the Spurs, that we have a community that supports and has such following for both Rodeo and the Spurs, that we essentially have outgrown each other, if you will, and in a successful way. Had a great partnership, but have outgrown each other. And that comes from support right here in this area. I think that's something we should be proud of and positive of in our community.
Any final thoughts?
No, I look forward to seeing everybody tomorrow night. I just think that if we can just get the message out of how it all really works, and that's the component we're missing. We haven't had a chance to tell our story down here yet. So I really appreciate y'all coming in and allowing us to do that.